So, do you find yourself wondering, did the Daredevil Born Again Season 1 season finale stick the landing? Is it any good? Will Season 2 be any good? Well, join me today as we talk about these very topics. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again, presently on Disney+. This is the season finale of season 1. So I'm going to state something here up front that I suppose is potentially a spoiler, but I don't think it's a huge one. There's going to be a season 2. This literally ends with Daredevil will return in Daredevil Born Again season 2. So, yeah, I guess it's a spoiler, but like, that's been public knowledge for a while. So, having said that, I will try to avoid spoilers because the episode just came out, and I'm actually kind of recording this not right after, it's the next day, but faster than I normally get these out. So, just in case you are concerned with spoilers, I'm going to give some general thoughts first, and then I'll get to the spoilers. So, general thoughts. Did it stick the landing? Yes, in my opinion, it did. I thought it was a very good episode. There is the problem of some lack of resolution because of the fact there's going to be a season 2, but that was something that was kind of known going into this, so it's kind of baked into the cake. Kind of like if you go to watch Lord of the Rings, the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring, and you're aware that there's a trilogy of books, so this is only the first one. Unlike a friend of mine, two friends of mine who went, and one of them was well aware of this fact, and apparently the other one was not. And from what I understand, he just stood up in the theater and was like, where the hell's the rest of the movie? So, just so everyone knows, there's more coming, okay? I don't know when it's supposed to be out, but there's more coming. So, like I said, it's a good episode. Lots of action in this one. This is definitely probably more violent than anything in the MCU has ever been. This is definitely up there with some parts of the the show was on Netflix. It might even exceed it, because I don't consider this a spoiler because he's been in the show up to this point, but the Punisher gets let off the leash in this one, so to speak. So yeah, he goes to town on a lot of people, and yeah, he's there's almost some Thomas Jane Punisher kind of stuff going on here. For those who don't know, typically with the Punisher, usually just shoots people, which can be bloody or bloodless depending on how they want to depict it. Whereas in the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, at least one of the kills was particularly graphic, where he has a long knife and goes up and under the guy's up and under the bottom part of the jaw here, through that and into the brain through the bottom, which it's pretty gruesome. And Frank pulls out the bladed weapons a few times in this one, so some people definitely go down hard. Yeah, so we have that, and Daredevils are in the mix too, and the philosophical, Frank, why you gotta kill everybody? You're an asshole, right? Yeah, I know, but maybe you should kill some people sometime too, Red. Let's vent some steam. And so we got a lot of that. We find out the true goal of Fisk's plan, or at least a goal, and I'll talk about that more in the spoiler section. And we see Fisk completely take advantage of the situation of the attempted shooting. So yeah, that basically turns the city into kind of nightmare mode. So yeah, overall, some great acting, character returns that we haven't seen for several episodes. Like I said, Punisher does his thing. There's a couple of good fight sequences, so good action, good acting as usual. We get to see the Kingpin's strength on display. That was far more gruesome than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I'll talk about that in the spoilers too. So yeah, overall, if you've been keeping up with the show, but you haven't watched this episode yet, I definitely recommend it. And if you have been waiting to binge, well, now it's all out there, so now's the time, and it's a good finish. Again, knowing that there's more coming. It does end on a, well, we'll see you in the next episode kind of ending, but things are clearly like moving towards some kind of event, resolution, what have you. So the pieces are, moving around and such. So with that said, if you're going to skip the spoilers section and you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Comment down in the comments. Sharing in comments would help us grow the channel. I would appreciate it. And subscribe if you really feel like it. If it's the first one of the videos you come across of ours, I say ours because if you look at our list, there are other videos where there's some other gentlemen here on the channel and other people on the channel, and so it's not just me, although a lot of times it is just me, but it's not always. It's a group effort. So, but yeah, so we always appreciate it. But yeah, now we're gonna go into the spoilers section. So heavy spoilers here. Here we go. All right. Matt seems to be, he has the usual, hey, I'm Daredevil, but I can't tell people I'm Daredevil, so I come across like a lunatic about some things with both his current girlfriend, the psychologist, and the other woman that works in his law firm now that was friends with Foggy in the first episode. Like, because they don't know and he can't tell them. So Fisk immediately begins making moves to take advantage of the attempted assassination on him. And he calls together all the people there in his administration, and basically he's going to declare martial law. And like they're going through it, and they're like, well, there needs to be like not to downplay what happened, but like these, like, you can't just seal off the city. Like, there's got to be something has to happen. And so they're talking about that, and this is with the main press secretary, and so he tells her to gather up all the people that are loyal to him, because he knows not everyone there is, and send everyone else home, but give everyone that's loyal, get them in there. He's going to go over the plan. And she goes out and talks to the police commissioner, who's like, we can't let this stand. Like, he's not a king. Like, he's like, I'm going to Albany, the state capital in New York, to take this up with the governor and put an end to this. Like, he's crossed the line. And he's like, but I'm going to need some people to back me up. And so she agrees, but she's like, but I can't go with you in person, obviously, because I'm here. Like, Fisk is going to notice if I'm gone. And but I'll back you, like, in writing or whatever you need. And so he leaves, and she goes to Fisk with a recording of this. And so she has completely thrown her lot in with Fisk at this point. And I don't know if she's done that out of fear because of how dangerous he is, because she's finally realized this, or that she's just like, the hell with it, this is my job, I guess this is what I'm doing. But for whatever reason, she does that. And so they take the commissioner gets in his car, and one of the drivers there is a guy that's on the task force that's loyal to Fisk, not to him. So he takes him to Red Hook there, where the port story is going on. And so you have this happening, but after she leaves his office, a guy from I can remember what it's called, It's essentially the Department of Water and Power in New York, and but it's got a name, and I know it's not just DWP. Oh, I hear it all the time in Law and Order, and I can't think of it. But anyway, he calls him in, and miraculously the power in the city goes out later on, so you can figure out what happened there. That's Fisk's event that he needed to do all this stuff. So he tells his number 2 guy, he's like, so what's Matt Murdock's condition? And he's like, well, he's probably expected to make it. And he's like, well, you know, he's like, Matt can do one more service for the city and die a martyr instead of live as a vigilante. And he's like, understood, sir. And so he goes to try to kill Matt in the hospital, but Matt hears him coming because he's Daredevil, and he leaves. So he escapes. The task force goes to Matt's apartment to fight him, to take him down. And what they find instead is Daredevil and the Punisher, because Karen Page called the Punisher to watch out for Daredevil. And the Punisher, I try to remember exactly what he said. I think he said something to the effect of, look, Matt, you got to understand, if these guys come in here, like, I'm not here to play patty cake with them, like, things are going to get rough. And, well, they end up killing all of them. So, well, sorry, there's one guy left alive. And Matt's like, no, don't kill him. He's not worth it. And the Punisher sees some other guy alive on the floor. He's like, what about him? Was he worth it? And Matt's like, God damn it, Frank. Like, you're an asshole. Like, yeah, well, you're alive because of me, so whatever. But then a grenade gets tossed in there, and they jump out the window, and explosion. And presumably the last cop that Daredevil's like, no, not him, gets killed. We find out that he was the one who killed White Tiger. I don't remember his character's name, but he was the one using the rounds that had the Punisher's insignia on them, and the task force has adopted the Punisher logo on their vests. So they go, and Karen Page is there, and they leave and go back to Frank's hideout, whatever, patch themselves up. You know, they got to do some stitching because they took some wounds. And they leave, and, you know, Karen and Frank have a little bit of a back and forth. And, you know, ultimately she's like, thanks. And he's like, yeah, keep yourself safe. So they go to the storage building where all the case files are, because Matt has realized that Vanessa Fisk killed Foggy for a reason. And it's got to be somewhere in the case file, because he realizes that he was already celebrating because he was going to win the case, because he was going to get it dismissed. But there had to be something about it that was going to be a problem. And so they begin looking through the case file, and they find a charter for Red Hook from like the 1800s, and they realize it's a free port. Now, I've only heard of this concept in the movie Tenet. I did not know this was like an actual thing, but maybe it is. So I haven't had a chance to look this up, so I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to assume this isn't like made up movie fantasy land here for a moment. I don't know if Red Hook specifically is one, but the concept. A free port exists outside of the laws and regulations of wherever it's sitting. It's essentially a sovereign country, as near as I can tell. Or very close to it. But the most important part is that, like, tax laws don't exist there. So people that own lots of artwork, in this case it's the example, and also in Tenet, they bring their artwork to this free port, and so they can buy it elsewhere and never be taxed on it, because it's taxed when they bring it into their country. Well, they keep it in the free port instead. They can go and look at it, or they can move it to another free port if they want to, just as long as they never actually bring it into their home country outside of the free port. At least if I understood Tenet, that's the concept. So they realize that what Fisk's ultimate plan is to massively develop this area and set up shop there, because then basically the law won't be able to touch him. He'll be able to have gambling, prostitution, drugs, everything, because the law doesn't apply, and at least in theory. So that's why he wants to develop that area. That's why he wants the area. He wants to develop the area. That's what Vanessa was kind of doing until he became the mayor. So That's why they had to kill Foggy, because he was going to expose this fact, and once people realized this, like once it became common knowledge, then presumably things would be done to stop it, or the government would try to step in, or something. It ruined their little criminal paradise they planned on building. So that's Fisk's like big motivation. Assuming there's not more to it, that seems to be that's what it is. So Daredevil goes down there to the port, and Karen talks him out of going in on the suicide mission because there's just all kinds of cops there, and they're all part of the task force, so they're loyal to Fisk. And so ultimately she convinces him not to go in there, and like the power's still out in the city, and she's like, we need an army. And so they can hear the people rioting in the city. They're not in Red Hook is not there in the city proper in Manhattan. So they are going to go into the city and get people loyal to the cause. Meanwhile, the police commissioner gets brought in there, and Fisk crushes his skull with his bare hands. And it's like it kind of starts off with like, you can hear some crunching and the guy's eyes bleeding. Then next thing you know, like it just collapses, and Fisk just like takes a chunk of the dude's face and everything, and it's pretty gruesome. Like more like I expected him to just kind of die, from the crushing. I didn't expect the crush to happen like that. So yeah, Fisk kills that guy, which yet again emphasizes just how strong the Kingpin is. He's clearly in like he's got to be low-level superhuman, or the equivalent thereof, or like peak physical human. So, which would mean in theory he could fight someone like Captain America on a raw strength level, because Captain America is supposed to just be peak physical. Now, movie Captain America is based more on the Ultimates, where he's actually like low-level superhuman, but even just being peak physical in everything from the super soldier serum essentially makes you superhuman, because it's physically impossible to be that way otherwise. So basically any kind of like Olympic level Olympic records or anything, Steve could meet or beat them, like in basically every category. That's how like perfect the super soldier serum makes you. So, and the Kingpin's not that, but in terms of strength, he's there. So, or at least he's supposed to be in the comics. But yeah, seeing this feat of crushing a man's skull like that, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything like that since the Mountain did that to what was his name, the Viper, Pedro Pascal's character. Can't think of his name off the top of my head, or his, because it got crushed. But yeah, now it wasn't quite like that. He was screaming the whole time as he was dying, and that was very gruesome. But yeah, then Frank is also like, well, I'm going in, and just murders a whole bunch of cops on the way in, and yeah, takes them down. But eventually he gets overwhelmed, and then they try to have a sit down with him, like, Frank, like, we agree with what you're doing, dude. Like, we want you to join us. Like, this is what you're doing. And he's just like, what I'm doing? Like, you don't understand the first thing about what I'm doing. You don't know my pain. Do you even know what happened to me? And he's like, no, you guys are clowns, and I'm going to kill all of you. And I was just like, there you go, Frank. That's pretty comic accurate from what I understand. The Punisher, he, I haven't read the issues because I don't read the Punisher. So I don't know if it's a case of like, he looks at it as the police have taken an oath to uphold the law, and as such means they shouldn't be acting as judge, jury, and executioner, whereas he has taken no such oath and has decided that he will be judge, jury, and executioner. Because Frank's kind of picky on people like imitating him and like agreeing with him. Like, he knows what he's doing is on some level wrong, but he also knows that, or believes, I should say, that sometimes there's people that the system just doesn't deal with, and someone's got to take out the trash. And so he generally doesn't seem to like other people taking that stance, because like he argues with Daredevil. He's fought Captain America before, and by fought, as I understand it, Captain America beat his ass because Frank refused to fight him, because Captain America's his idol. He's the guy he looked up to. Like he's the moral paragon. And so Frank wouldn't fight him, because he's like, I don't have any moral superiority over you. Like, if you want to beat me up, then go for it. Like, you're you. So, interesting situation. But police that try to mimic him, he is not a fan. So, and I don't know if that's more a result of like real world police officers adopting that symbol, which is not the greatest thing ever, because again, the Punisher murders people. Like, it's definitely not sending a good signal. But anyway, enough about that. So he gets captured, and they've got him down there, and then you see Fisk and Vanessa walk through. They've got like some of the rich people or their spouses caged up, and Frank Castle's in there with them, and then they go and have dinner, and at some point Fisk, the power comes back on. Fisk declares martial law and sets a curfew, and is like, the city will once again be the gem that it is. The law-abiding will once again control, and the rule of law will rule, things like this. And he got all this past the city council because he'd had people been investigating them all this time to find out all the shady shit they're up to. So his one kind of goober press guy goes and confronts them and is like, so here's the mayor's proposal. And they're like, oh, this is insane. He's like, well, and he's writing this stuff down. It's like, Congress, chairperson such and such, said this is insane. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, the mayor wants to know who disagrees with him. And he's like, and I just, want to make sure it's on the record here. So he's talking about that, and they're like, this feels like intimidation. He's like, well, the mayor's got his own plans, and, he's got backups. And he's like, kind of like that secret account you have in the Caymans with about $500,000 in it. Like, that seemed like a pretty good idea. Things happen. And then, like, you see that, like, the council person's like, oh my God, because he knows. And then he's just kind of like, so if anyone else has any issues, like, let me know so I can let Mayor Fisk know. Otherwise, he expects your wholehearted support. So they go along with it because he's blackmailing them. And, yeah. So, like the commissioner figured out just before his head got crushed, he's like, I was wrong. Like, you never stopped being the kingpin. He's like, you can't help yourself. And so, yeah. So now he's in charge of everything. He's got these protocols. The cops basically have like shoot on sight orders for vigilantes. And you see how that's already affecting things when this guy's robbing someplace. And the cops tell him to put his hands up and just shoot him. And the one guy's like, he was just a kid. And he like takes his hoodie and pulls it down over part of his face. Like, no, he was a vigilante. Don't you see? So, yeah, you can see that it's already having an effect. So then it ends with Daredevil there in the bar from the first episode, which I believe is Josie's. And him and Karen are rallying like some presumably not corrupt cops you see there, and Josie's there. And so, like, people that they're going to have to use to try to take back the city, basically. So, given that it ends on that note, I'm really hopeful that this means they bring back the rest of the Defenders. Bring back Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist. And, yeah, bring them in. Like, it's probably asking for way too much, but a Spider-Man cameo or a Miss Marvel cameo or both would be spectacular. So, yeah, I'm hopeful for season 2. Even if they just kind of show up as like a final battle kind of moment thing, because we don't really know which way Bullseye is going to go in all this. And there's clearly room for Fisk to also get some of the superpowered criminals on his side. So we'll just have to see how that goes, because he's only after vigilantes. Like, if they're deputized in the name of for the city, well, they're no longer vigilantes now, are they? So they're perfectly legal. He's not outlawed. He hasn't outlawed people with superpowers. He's outlawed vigilantes. So, which I believe are already illegal, but you know, I'm no expert on the judicial system of the state of New York, although I've learned a hell of a lot through like 25 seasons of Law and Order, where I'm pretty sure Jack McCoy would prosecute you for vigilantism. Vigilanteism. Yeah, anyway. So, overall, excellent episode. Definitely good end of the series, or season. Things did slow down a bit in like episode 7, but then they picked back up. Yeah, overall, really good episode. I've got high hopes for season 2. I think this is a strong finish to season 1. You should definitely check it out. But yeah, that's about all I've got to say on this one. So if you didn't hear the spiel earlier somehow, even though I was on this same video, I'm going to throw it out there again just in case. But if you like what you heard, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen this episode. Do you plan on watching this episode? Anything you liked, disliked, etc., etc. Like, share, subscribe. Sharing and commenting on things that help us grow the channel the most. We always appreciate it. Obviously, subscribing really helps, but that's up to you. If you like what you hear here, you want to see other stuff, you know. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for this one. So just remember, make mine Marvel.